Welcome to another OU Insider Under the Visor YouTube Live powered by Riverwind Casino. It is practice number 6 for the Oklahoma Sooners during fall camp. Lots and lots to talk about. Parker Thune, Brandon Drum. We got Kurt Watson filling in for Spencer Forsythe on the board. Excited, Parker. Exciting times. The vibe is different. Yes, there are injuries. As at every fall camp, like there's always going to be injuries. And we're going to discuss all that. We're going to discuss that. We're going to discuss Jake Krell, upcoming decision on August 12th. T. Ron Richardson, upcoming decision on August 26th. And those are both defensive linemen. And then the third defensive lineman who will be announcing before all of them, obviously, Elijah Golden on August 9th. Discuss that. Answer your questions, as always, in the super chat down there below on YouTube Live. And obviously, maybe talk some bold predictions. We'll see. We got a couple bold predictions that are pretty interesting on our board. We got a whole bold prediction thread on OU Insider VIP that has been very lively. So we may check in on that and give a couple shout outs to some pretty creative ones. So, but before we do all that, we need to thank our sponsors, Parker.
We do, and that starts with our presenting sponsor, Riverwind Casino, OKC's premier gaming destination for nearly 2 decades now. Almost 3,000 electronic games, table games, bars and dining options, plus the best live music in the metro. It's no surprise that Riverwind is always a good time. Also want to give a quick shout to our friends at Janiking, the greatest team to ever clean, and a proud partner of OU Athletics, delivering spotless results and solutions from stadiums to any size business across the country. Check out which of those solutions is best for you or your business by going to janiking.com. That's JANIKING.com.
All right, Parker. Where do we want to start? To start?
Let's go ahead and get started by reminding folks, that the best way to stay in touch with all of our work, keep tabs on all of the intel that we're providing, is by going and subscribing over at ouinsider.com. It's just $1 for a 1-week trial. So pay $1, get a week. If you don't like it, you don't have to stick around, but we think you'll like it over there. So
and you get the Athletic.
Heading to ouinsider.com, signing up. That's the best way to stay tapped in with all of the exclusive intel that we're bringing to you on a daily basis. Also, throughout the stream, if you would like to ensure that your question gets answered or your desired topic gets discussed, send it to us in the super chat. Use the super chat function. You can attach any monetary amount to your super chat, but that will ensure that your question gets bumped to the top of the queue and that we will discuss it over the course of the show. With that said, Brandon, in terms of subject matter, I think the very obvious place to start is with the bombshell news yesterday that Jake Krell won't be committing in October. He won't be waiting till games are played to make a decision. No, he's going to commit next Tuesday, August 12th.
Yeah, interesting enough. Look, at first glance, when you hear all the buzz about Texas, right? Like I think that's kind of the deal that has OU fans a little squirmish. And look, again, just like we talk about with the injuries, I get it. Like Oklahoma, particularly this cycle, and we're going to discuss that too. I want to talk about that. Kind of the mindset moving forward for Oklahoma with this cycle, and there's reasons behind it. But look, you can be squirmish. Texas is making a play here, and they've made some strong push over the last month with Jake Krell when it looked like it was Oklahoma's to lose for a long time. However, he says he wants to see what Oklahoma does. But when you talk to Oklahoma sources, they'll sit there and look you square in the eye and say, this dude is a fit, a perfect fit, scheme and everything. And when you can kind of read between the lines with what Jim Nagy's been saying with if there be, and for Oklahoma, they're going to push for 5 stars and they're going to push for the elite guys and pay up as much as they possibly can for elite guys. And look, as much as possibly can, they're not going to go outlandish. If they're going to go outlandish, they're going to go outlandish for a transfer portal guy that's like potential All American. And they've made that abundantly clear. And it makes sense, particularly with this class in 2026. Nagy's group, Parker, came in late, right? It was around March when they finally started to roll in. And even at that point, they were shorthanded. They weren't fully stocked and hired up until what, May, late April, early Mayish, mid Mayish, when everything kind of finally got leveled out with their hiring processes. Um, so they were late to the game as far as like just how they want to attack the recruiting cycles and their evaluations moving forward as a program. So within this cycle, they don't have a lot of the relationships. They don't know the groundwork and any of that type of stuff, but they will with 27, and that's kind of where they're looking at. So if you see Oklahoma stay at 15, 16, 17 signees in the 26 class, I wouldn't fret because from what we understand, they're going to focus a lot on the transfer portal, having guys that are developed that can come in, and they can with the 26 class because 25 has been so fruitful, 24 has been so fruitful, and how they've done the portal classes, they've went and got guys with multiple years. So Oklahoma is a lot of freshmen, sophomore, juniors. There's a lot of times where you get those 1 year senior guys and you get these teams that will load up on 1 year guys and then they'll just recycle over and over and over. Well, Oklahoma has loaded up 24, 25 classes. Plus, they've went and got other guys from 25 and 24 classes through the portal and added to it. So Parker and I were talking on the phone today. They're mostly sophomore and juniors. So they can afford to not take a huge class once again in 26. And it might look like that may be the best case scenario for Oklahoma, to be honest.
We have a super chat, our first so far, coming from Corbin Good, who says, okay, so the Sooners offered Camion Compton Nero, excuse me, from Rejoice Christian. What do they want from him, or are they trying to get the receiver from there as well? I'm assuming he's referring to Xavier Okwufuluweze. Also, Mongo, I'm coming for that number one fan spot. Corbin, thanks so much for the $10 contribution. OU to this point has not recruited Xavier Okwufuluweze, and that's
I
a
was going to
recruitment
let you
that has
name
really
that.
gone quiet over the
Mm-hmm.
last couple of months. It's hard to tell what the outcome there will be. I mean, he's a guy that physically speaking fits the mold of the type of receiver that Jim Nagy and the Oklahoma Brain Trust would seem to like, but the low level of competition in particular, I think, is going to be the knock on Okwufuluweze. I mean, I'm not questioning that he could be a guy that Oklahoma moves on late. Let's say he has a really outstanding first 4 games of his senior year and that midseason huddle tape hits, and you're like, whoa, okay. Then you could potentially see a world in which Oklahoma's kicking the tires come October or so if they're still in need of a wide receiver. But as it stands, Brandon, as we sit here on August 6th, OU hasn't pursued him.
I muted myself. I was trying to make sure that the audio issues that everybody was talking about was fixed. And if you load and reload, it'll go away. Um, yeah, look, you're right. I'm gonna let you pronounce it because I don't want to butcher the name. Oko Fluese.
Okwufuluweze,
Oku Fluese. Okay, I am totally never gonna
six
get that
six
right.
syllables. Okwufuluweze.
Oku Fluese. That is a hard name to say. I I think more or less he fits Oklahoma. I think he would be a really really good uh, get. I think he's talented enough. Honestly, um, I don't know. I do you think Oklahoma should offer him? Just honestly, like I know I'm putting you on the spot with that. Like if we both think he's talented enough, but do you think he fits what Nagy's looking for? I guess is what the better question would be.
I think right now, I mean, Oklahoma has one wide receiver commit in the 2026 cycle, right? It's
Yeah,
just
it's like
Daniel
why
Odom,
not, right?
and it's been Daniel Odom. And we'll see what happens with Davian Gross. That's the other blue chip recruitment that we're just kind of sitting, waiting on. We'll see what happens with him. I feel strongly about Oklahoma's chances to land the stud from Frisco Lone Star High School, but Baylor's involved, Houston's involved, Florida's involved. And at a certain point, you have to wonder, why hasn't there been a decision yet? What is taking
Right.
so long? Now, if we look at our handy scholarship chart on OUinsider.com, nice little perk, up to date, 1000% accurate with all of the scholarships broken down by position and classification, we come to see that Oklahoma is only graduating 2 wide receivers at
Yeah.
season's end, Deion Burks and Keontae Lewis. Everybody else has the option to return next season. And who knows? Maybe Giovanni Gibson gets healthy again and he goes for 1,200 yards and he's off to the NFL, right? Like maybe that
Mhm.
happens. That's probably the only guy other than Burks and Lewis that you worry about leaving because he wants to, rather than getting pushed out at the end. Like I have no doubt that there are going to be guys that get pushed out at the end of the season because it just happens every single year. Oklahoma's going to make the judgment that certain guys aren't going to contribute for this program and they will encourage them to go find another destination. But you're only losing Burks and Lewis for sure. You may have as little as 2 wide receiver spots heading into next season that are open, that are vacant. Oklahoma also has 14 scholarship receivers right now, Brandon. That's a lot. That's more than they've carried in recent years. So if we're just looking at sheer numbers, I would argue that a 2 wide receiver class featuring Daniel Odom and Davian Gross is actually fine.
Yeah.
But I also think there's a reason why Oklahoma's initial plan was to take 4 wideouts, right?
Yeah.
Now,
Attrition happens.
yes, it does. And so I I think the happy medium is 3. I would
Mm.
like to see Oklahoma get to 3. Now, who that third is, besides Odom and hypothetically Davian Gross, well, who knows? Could it be a guy like Jordan Clay that Oklahoma made a run at? He ultimately committed to Baylor. Could they make a push to flip him?
Yeah.
Might there be a world in which Oklahoma makes a run at Booby Feaster, especially given his connection with Peyton Houston? Might there be a world where Oklahoma makes a run at another USC wide receiver commit in Roderick Tizano, a guy that really liked Oklahoma throughout the recruiting process, but never got the OU offer and wound up committing to the Trojans? There's a number of different ways that Oklahoma could play this. I think it just comes down to, and this goes back to one of Jim Nagy's principles, do they see somebody like Xavier Okufulueze as the best option out there to be their potential third wideout in the class? Because Nagy has said on several occasions that they would like to maintain a strong in-state presence on the roster, but they're also not going to just hand out scholarships to guys
Yeah.
that are within state lines but can never contribute to a winning football product at the University of Oklahoma. Guys have to be worth the scholarship. And so, do they see Xavier Okufulueze as a guy that is worth the scholarship, especially with the knowledge that if things really get cooking for Oklahoma this fall and they win 8, 9, 10 games, there may be players that are circling back to Oklahoma.
Hmm.
They may be the ones reaching out. It's happened before when we look at the 2024 recruiting cycle and what Oklahoma was able to do down the stretch and some of the things that they could have done but didn't do down the stretch as they reeled off a 10-win season in the year 2023, obviously concurrent
Yeah.
with the 2024 cycle. So I don't know. I don't necessarily have any expectation that something materializes between Oklahoma and Xavier Okufulueze because I think there are multiple obstacles. One being the fact that it doesn't really feel like you need more than 2 if we're just looking at it from a numbers perspective. And then also, if you do wind up needing more than 2, there also has to be strong evidence to suggest that Okufulueze is the best option, not just the most convenient one.
For sure. The other target that everybody's actually, you want to know what? I think we have a few super chats. We do before we
They're
start
stacking
talking
up.
about. Yeah. Um, I
Corbin
think we
followed
got.
up and asked, yeah, but what do they want with Nero?
Well, Nero's a 28 guy, so you got time with him. He's going to play safety, right now at Oklahoma. If he was to go to Oklahoma, and they love him a lot. He's raw. He he showed up to camp. He timed well. His measurements were off the charts. You look at his basketball film and you see what he is on the basketball court, and that right there was a big selling point to the OU staff. Like, look, he's a multiple sports star. His footwork leaves a lot to be desired because he's never done it. Like, he had never worked on it. Now, from my understanding, he's getting with trainers uh, up in the Tulsa area, working on his footwork, learning how to backpedal properly, learning, um, you know, as weird as this sounds, I know, work the hips, all that type of stuff. So there's a lot that he needed to work on, but he's never done it. Like, you're talking about a kid that just showed up and they're like, we want you to try out for safety. So he went and did it, showed his athleticism, and was like, look, we're going to offer you, but here's what you need to work on, type of deal is how I understood it. So they like him at safety. He's also a guy, though, if push comes to shove, he can flip over to the wide receiver side and probably be just as dominant, if not more dominant. But those are the type of safeties you want, guys that are that athletic and that have such good ball skills that they can play the wide receiver position maybe better than they can the safety position. So um, right now, that's essentially what they like him at is safety. The John Higgins, thank you so much for the other super chat. How confident are y'all? OU is 5-0 going into Texas. Like, if I was to put it on a scale of 8 to 10, Parker,
8 to 10.
or excuse me, if I was to put it on 0 to 10, excuse me, I don't know why I said 8. I think because in my mind, I think a lot of people would probably say 8, but that's not what I would say. I'll let you go first, and then I'll come back with what I think.
I would say 8. I
I knew it,
I,
but
I
that's why.
genuinely,
That's
yeah.
honestly why I went to you, so you can just go ahead and get it out there.
Yeah, no, I genuinely am pretty confident Oklahoma goes into Texas 5-0 just because they play three really easy opponents in Illinois State, Temple, and Kent State. And juxtaposed with those cupcake matchups, you have two very intriguing contests against Michigan and
Mm-hmm.
Auburn, right? But there are many question marks surrounding both of those programs and what they're going to be able to put on the field this fall. Michigan may be trotting out a true freshman quarterback in Bryce Underwood.
Yeah.
And frankly, Brandon, there is not a defense in the country that is better equipped to power down Auburn than Oklahoma's defense because of who is going to be taking the snaps for Auburn when they come to Norman on September 20th. So I think you really like those matchups, especially given that they're both on your home field. So I feel confident that Oklahoma should be able to hold serve at home against Michigan and Auburn. And as long as that happens, as long as you win those two games, Lord knows they're not dropping a game to Illinois State or Temple or Kent State. Like if you just beat Michigan and Auburn, it's essentially a given that you're going into the Texas game 5-0. Now, I have no idea what happens throughout the second half of Oklahoma's season.
Yeah,
I
those
don't know
last
that
7.
anybody can reliably project how that goes because there will be teams that are better than we expect them to be. There are teams that will be worse than we expect them to be. Oklahoma could be better or worse than we expect them to be. And the back half of that schedule is really, really tough. On paper right now, it's outright vicious. And so
Yeah.
that Texas game, I know you kind of circle it every single year as the one that goes such a long way towards dictating the tenor of the remainder of Oklahoma's campaign and the fate of the entire season. But it looms even larger than usual this year because of how difficult that finishing kick is on the schedule.
For sure. No, I 8 is probably the correct answer. Okay, it probably is the correct answer, but I'm gonna go like a 7, 6.5, 7, and here's why. Because I think the Michigan game is so critical. Like, I can't honestly put into words how crucial that game is because I think if Oklahoma loses that game, just from an optics point of view on a national level and probably even inside the Switzer Center, it could get really bad if they lose that game. It really could. You think about it. You're on the heels of 6-7. Now, I don't know that Mateer is going to allow that to take place if they did lose, but I'm saying it could get really bad because I honestly think it's the most critical game for Oklahoma in probably a decade. And you know what that other game was? Tennessee. Following the 2014 season, OU had to win that ball game to prove that they were back on the right track, right? On the road. And for a long time, it didn't look like they were. This game has a lot of that same feel of probably going to have two, like Oklahoma was like mere a few votes away from being a top 25 team coming into the preseason, right? I think they were 26th in the coaches. I don't know where they are AP. I don't think that's come out yet, but I think there's a chance he's in the top 25 in the AP poll. But there's a good chance that both week 2 are top 25, Parker. If Oklahoma can pull that off, obviously an 8 or 9 would be my confidence for them to be 5-0. That Michigan game, I don't know. I'm just leery about it. I just am. I don't know why that is, other than I think because it's such a critical um, game for Oklahoma. Just overall for them moving forward as a program, and probably for Brent Venables overall and that staff more than anything else.
We got another super chat from Corbin Good, a $5 super chat. And by the way, I do want to shout out one of our most loyal viewers, Sandman0023.
Keeps that chat rocking, doesn't he?
He really does. Like, he shows up every week, man. I genuinely respect the devotion because he is a Texas fan. And
Diehard
he
Texas.
shows up every single week to troll. I have to respect it.
Yeah, his troll game's strong. We have to ban him every now and then because it gets a little too rambunctious, but he comes back stronger the next week.
The $5 super chat from Corbin asks, what happens to Ben Arbuckle if OU goes 11-1 and Mateer is a Heisman finalist? Does he leave, and what quarterback leaves with him? Okay, there's a lot of hypotheticals right there, Corbin. I
That
mean,
is a
there's
lot to
like we're
like
talking about
process.
such a specific hypothetical scenario that requires so many dominoes to fall a certain way. Like, I don't have a clue. If OU goes 11-1 and John Mateer is a Heisman finalist, you bet Ben Arbuckle is going to have some head coaching offers. You bet he's going to be a coveted commodity on the coaching carousel. Would he leave? I don't know. Probably depends on what jobs are open to him,
Yeah,
what vacancies are there. Like, would you, in all honesty, in all candor, I think Ben Arbuckle and a lot of P4 coordinators these days would rather be P4 coordinators than G5 head coaches. So if all he has is G5 opportunities on the table, I would say he probably rides it out at Oklahoma. Now, if he has a P4 head coaching opportunity, obviously, especially at 30 years old, it's really, really tough. And it will be really, really tough for anybody in his shoes to turn that down. Now,
I,
as far as who's leaving with him, again,
that's
I
too
don't
hard to
have a
predict.
clue.
We don't even know who's going to be here when that happens. To
And
be
we
honest,
also don't know who's going to play well this fall versus who's just
fair.
going to be depth chart fodder. I tell you, we think we know. I mean, that
Yeah.
picture's starting to become clear. Everything's starting to crystallize a little bit. And, we talked about it on OUinsider.com. I wrote a story earlier this afternoon, just regurgitating some of the things I've heard or had heard earlier in the day from the practice field in the closed session. Man,
Mhm.
there's very legitimate reason to be really excited about where this offense can go in 2025. Because here's the thing about it, it doesn't have to be John Mateer that single-handedly shoulders the load for that Oklahoma offense.
Nope.
It's not going to be Mateer carrying the team, carrying the unit on his back. You have Jaden Knott. You have a very deep running back room. A lot of them are banged up right now. That's reality. It is what it is. But you have Jaden Knott, when healthy, one of the most talented backs in the country. You have a very deep receiver room that is rife with playmakers.
Yep.
And that has become a very prominent theme throughout the first week of camp. John Mateer does not have to make water into wine, Brandon. The wine's already there.
Was well, I'm glad to know he's not Jesus. Um, so there's that.
He doesn't have
Uh,
to be Jesus.
I don't know that I would want
It might have
that.
taken Jesus at the quarterback position to get Oklahoma playing winning offensive football last year, but that is
For
no longer
sure.
the case.
For sure. Yeah, look, and the other thing is with the running back situation, and I know you fans aren't going to want to hear this just because they're going to think, well, this is an excuse or whatever. The fact that you're banged up at running back and you still have Javante Barnes, right, and Torrey Blaylock. That's how deep that room is. Just throwing that out there. Like you have 4 dudes that are like legitimately banged up. Could they go? Probably. A lot of them, if it was the season, they could probably play. We're just gonna keep it real. But it's 7 days into fall camp, so they're not really looking to risk any of those guys. But Oklahoma's going to run John Mateer quite a bit, so I don't know that you're going to need a ton of running backs. You're going to want Jaden Ott. You're going to want Javante Barnes, Xavier Robinson, right? Taylor Tatum, Torrey Blaylock, Javante Barnes, like all those guys to be healthy because they could be really good assets for Oklahoma and will be good assets for Oklahoma. But you also have a 6 foot, 228, 230 pound quarterback that ran for almost 1,000 yards last year. And he ran like 150 times or something like that. And had how many touchdowns last? Was it like 17? Something to that extent, rushing touch. I don't remember it all off the top of my
15.
head, but 15. So you, you've got options in the run game. On top of that, the offensive line has been very, very good this this fall. Now, from what I've heard, Mateer he had some pressure from the people that you would expect him to have pressure from during live portions of practice today, and that was R. Mason Thomas, Jaden Jackson, right, Taylor Wine, the guys that you would think were going to be there, Marvin Jones Jr. So, like those are the 4 names that were thrown at me by a couple of sources that said, "Hey, they got after it," but overall the offense beat the defense. And for that to happen early in, and look, you can look at it one of 2 ways, Parker. You can look at it as, oh my God, the defense isn't as good as what we all thought it was going to be. Well, you are missing a freshman All American at corner, playing some other guys that are just getting their feet wet, right? Opposite of Gentry Williams. You're missing Grayson Halton. You're missing PJ. You're missing several other guys that are just being held out. So the offense took advantage of what the defense took advantage of last year and made the offense look poorly. But this defense is going to be legit good.
Yeah, I
Like
don't think anybody
really, really
questions
good.
that. And that's why I think
How
like
about
that's
the
the
offense just might be good, Parker?
yeah, that's the best news in the world if you're an Oklahoma fan, is that the
Yeah.
offense is getting the better of the defense on the practice field because you know what the defense is. You know who's running it. You know how good it's going to be.
Yeah.
You know you have 8 returning starters and some really talented players getting ready to be plugged into those 3 remaining spots. You're not worried about the defense if you're an Oklahoma fan. What you are worried about is the offense. And how many times did the offense get the better of the defense in fall camp last year, Brandon?
Oh my gosh. Twice maybe the whole fall camp. I think one scrimmage. We had one scrimmage that the offense did really, really well. And from what we understood, they didn't throw a lot of blitzes at it. They were trying to build the confidence back up for the offense that scrimmage.
And I'll say this too, man. And I know we talked to him today, and there's so much to be excited about and impressed with as far as this kid is concerned. But you mentioned a freshman All American and cornerback at Eli Bowen. I'm not so convinced. Like, I think if the opportunities are there, if the snap count is there for Cortland Guillory, that may be your next freshman All American on the defensive side of the ball.
That
All in.
That,
All in
well,
on
hey,
Cortland
you
Gilliard.
want to know what? I'll take that as one of your bold takes because I would classify that as like, as Josh Pate would put it, probably on a 9.4 Richter scale as
I
far
tell you,
as like
man, like I
boldness.
when I wrote when I typed up some practice intel on Monday over at ouinsider.com, I shared a bunch of sourced feedback on Cortland Gilliard because he had had a really impressive day that day.
Yeah,
And one source told me flat out, I think that guy is going to be at Oklahoma for 3 years.
that I mean, he's gone after three. If he's that good, that's a good sign. Honestly, like I don't think you can look at it any other way than it being a good sign. Um,
Super chats, a couple more.
Go ahead.
Corbin threw us another $5 and said, I was asking because I want to know how that affects Peyton Houston. This is my last one, by the way. LOL. Gonna go broke. Corbin, thank you for your
We appreciate
contributions
you.
tonight. We
Yeah.
very much appreciate it. But yeah, obviously, like in a world where Ben Arbuckle is no longer in the picture, you would presume that that affects Peyton Houston because Arbuckle has done a really good job
Yeah.
of just building the rapport in that recruitment. But you also got to consider Oklahoma led for Peyton Houston back when Seth Luttrell was the OC. So the change in leadership there has not affected that kid's or has not affected Oklahoma's standing in that kid's recruitment. So look, I expect we're going to have a decision from Peyton Houston by October or November. So we'll see what comes of that. But first things first, you got to go play good offensive football this fall. And then everything kind of falls into place after that. Another super chat from Based God 333. $5. He said, news about Ott is unfortunate, but now I see why we stack and recruit so many running backs. I trust all those guys, even young bloods like Blaylock, with an improved QB.
Yeah, I mean, Blaylock is a guy that I think we've talked about it even on the post practice blitz that he has a chance to just be really good. He was the very first practice we got to witness. They were doing inside drills, and we talked about it on the post practice again. He was awesome. Torrey Blaylock was awesome. I mean, we all looked at each other and go, "Whoa!" Like, so the buzz was kind of real with that guy, and everything that you hear and everybody that's talking about him through fall camp is they've been very, very complimentary of him. I think Zion Kearney is going to be another one that is going to have a huge year because of John Mateer. And either or, I think people tend to forget, like, heaven forbid, knock on wood, something happens, but you have an experienced backup in Michael Hawkins, a guy that can go out and win, a guy that understands and fits Ben Arbuckle's um, offense to a T. Everything that he wants. You like to run the quarterback? Guess what? Michael Hawkins like to run. You like to throw it deep? Guess what? Michael Hawkins has a beautiful deep ball. Like it's just he fits what Ben Arbuckle likes to do. Uh, I would even venture to go and say bold take here, bold take. By the end of the season, Elijah Thomas will be not just a major fixture, but one of John Mateer's top targets. Would you consider that a bold take?
It's boldish.
Not bold enough. I mean, he's not what I would consider like one of the top five guys right now. So, and you have to remember Javani Gibson is coming back. Deion Burks will be out there. Isaiah Satania, Zion Kearney, uh, obviously Keontez Lewis, Jermichael Carter. Like who else am I forgetting here off the top of my head, Parker? Like that wide receiver room is nasty.
It is a deep group. It is a deep group. And so many of those guys have made plays already in fall camp. And Satania, I think, is somebody that is going to outperform expectations because I just don't think expectations for him are all that high, at least among the fans. But, you know, when you look at his track record, his resume, he's arguably done more at the P4 level than anybody on Oklahoma's roster right now. I mean, that's not a stretch to say that. And he fast, Brandon. The dude can run. Um, more super chats here. SBC Bates threw us $2 and said State 5 asked about Nagy going after Judge Nash. I had no idea who Judge Nash was. I had to go do some research. He's a wide receiver from San Francisco that's committed to Harvard right now. So I assume that's tongue in cheek.
Hmm.
I have heard
Probably.
nothing to indicate Jim Nagy has Judge Nash on his radar. Um, John Higgins, John Higgins gave us $5 and said, "I'm just glad our main goal for the end of practice isn't to let the QB leave confident." Yeah, it's an interesting little public maneuver there by Hugh Freeze as far as the messaging is concerned. To make it clear to the media at Auburn that our number one goal is to make sure Jackson Arnold gains confidence, even if that means taking it easy on him on the defensive side. It's probably not what your fan base wants to hear.
Say, okay, repeat that again.
Were you keeping up to speed with Hugh Freeze and his comments about how they've made it a priority to ensure that Jackson Arnold gets into?
No, yes, yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh, yes.
obviously
Okay.
that's been widely
That was
panned
one of the
amongst the fan
dumbest
base.
things I've ever heard, by the
Yeah, and
way.
it's one of those
It was,
things where, like, even if you're doing it, don't talk about it because then
yeah,
your fans get the wrong impression.
for sure.
The
And
fans, their impression at that point is, does he need that? Why does he need that?
yeah, OU fans, on the other hand, are just saying, see,
They're on a
told you.
field day with it, yeah.
Oh, for sure. Because it sounds like everything that we talked about, he needed confidence last year. Look, I get where he's coming from with that just because he does need confidence after what happened last year, but I think he's getting it. I don't I don't think obviously Auburn's going to beat OU, but I do think that they're going to be much better. He has a lot of NFL wide receivers to throw to.
Quick aside, Italian Stallion asked, will Parker or BD have the balls to ask Ben if he balls out, if he would take a head coaching job if it's not a power four? So to be clear, I need to have the balls to walk into a press conference and ask Ben Arbuckle, assuming your offense performs well this year and you are offered a group of 5 head coaching job, will you take it? I know exactly A, how everybody in the room is going to look at me, and B, what Ben Arbuckle's answer is going to be. It could be, dude, what the hell are we talking about? I have to go ball out first. This offense has to go ball out first. That's what I'm focused on for the time being. It's that simple. Uh, moving on through our super chats here. Nicholas Wilson gave us $5 and said, seems like it's all so and so is doing great. Not counting injuries. Is anyone underperforming?
Oh my gosh, this is so this
I mean, what do you want me to say? Like,
I want to feel like this is like and shout out to Sooner in Fort Worth, who's a really good poster on OU Insider, but he said the same thing when I posted the other day, almost verbatim. So I want to know who's underperforming, not who's doing really well. I don't know if you like stalled out Parker or not because that's an amazing stall face. Um, but I think you're kind of like jittery for a second. You might want to turn your computer on and off or something. But not computer, but camera. Yeah, the underperformance. I don't. Again, I don't know that you can actually say anything like that, just because you haven't had a scrimmage yet. After the first scrimmage, it's going to be a lot clearer who's stepping up, who needs to have a better fall camp, and all of the above. But right now, it's not that everybody's doing amazing. It's just that because we've talked about issues like linebacker, they need to find depth at linebacker. They're still working on a tight end and figuring out who's going to be that dude at tight end. We think it's Jaron Canick, right? But I don't know. I just trying to think who. I mean, and obviously there's issues with the right tackle, right? I mean, and not issues blocking, just issues with guys being injured at right tackle right now. So like there is a lot that isn't chummy with OU in the fall camp right now. but I don't know. This beats last year when all we did was talk negatively the whole time. Like
Am
it
I
was bad.
stabilized? Am I good now?
You're stabilized.
Okay, good. Not sure what happened there.
I just tried to
I
keep
guess the
going, man. I just tried to keep going until you came back. So
I guess the internet thought about crashing and then decided not to. But we back.
I'd almost
We
tried
back,
again.
folks. Um, Daryl Revels, $5 from him. Outside of Texas, Nebraska, I feel like OU hasn't had a true rival. Looking forward in the SEC, who do you think will emerge? I'm betting Florida or LSU. This has been a popular question with a variety of different answers across the fan base. The most popular seems to be LSU. That seems to be the consensus answer,
Mm-hmm.
Brandon. I'll be honest, I know they're not very good right now, and maybe that takes a little bit of the steam out of it for some folks, but I've always kind of fancied the idea of an OU Arkansas rivalry.
I don't.
Really?
No. My wife's from Arkansas. I had to put up with that bullcrap 24/7 if Oklahoma lost. That would be miserable. Pass. Hard pass. I don't even know that I would go LSU. I want Florida. I think it doesn't fit geography wise. I get it. But as far as just who they are as programs and just I don't think Florida is the same as Oklahoma program wise. It just isn't. They're not the same level of blue blood that Oklahoma is. But I think if you had to pick between Arkansas, LSU, Florida, I think Florida fits. The other one I think, which makes complete sense to me, is Alabama. But I just don't know that those two teams can hate each other. They just can't. I don't think the fan bases can hate each other. There's too much respect between the fan bases.
Yeah. Well, and that's like I think OU and Arkansas fans could hate each other.
Oh,
You know?
100%. They haven't played since what? It was like 1920 something when Arkansas was throwing rocks like stones at the OU players as they were leaving the field. And they said they were never going to come back and they haven't played a home and home since. It may have been in the 30s. I don't remember. But they played pretty regularly up to that point. So it was a rivalry back in the days when people were going, "Hey, yeah, you see," and they're talking like that. So,
I just think like if you're looking for animosity in a rivalry, I think there's a lot of potential for animosity there between the Oklahoma fan base and the Arkansas fan base.
yeah, there's some
Because
people that say Missouri, but I just don't think we should acknowledge that.
to me they're not
I'm
relevant
here for
enough.
the hate Missouri
Like
fans, and I did it on purpose.
they're historically not relevant enough. You know, like that feels a lot like Bedlam to me. And Bedlam was a good rivalry, but it was a good rivalry because it was an in-state rivalry.
Mm-hmm.
If you replace Oklahoma State with some other program of similar resume historically from outside state lines, no one really cares. And like to me, that's what Missouri is. They're Oklahoma State without the in-state connection.
Good God, that is
And so
going.
I
You
just
are going to get put on blast everywhere. I said it tongue in cheek, and you went just full bore and just said, "You know what? They hate me anyways." You were just going to go ahead with it. You know
well, I
how
mean
much
like
they
I
hate
just
you. Yeah.
well, am I wrong though?
No,
Like am I
you're not
wrong to
wrong.
feel that way? I think when you look at what Missouri is historically as a program versus what Oklahoma is, there's a vast chasm there to the point where I struggle to think, I struggle to imagine that you would be able to get Oklahoma fans to take Missouri seriously as a rival.
Well, I think it's not just that. It's like Oklahoma's been in the SEC for 1 year, right? And still, even though OU and Texas are the newbies to the SEC, the joke is that Missouri has to convince everybody that they are in the SEC still. Like I see those jokes all the time in all the YouTube skits. Like, what about us? What about us? And people are like, oh yeah, we'll acknowledge you, I guess, type
Yeah.
deal. And
Missouri and Vanderbilt are the two schools that just don't really feel like SEC schools, right? Like they feel like the fringe programs of the conference. Both just in
geographically,
terms of
Missouri is way out. Yeah, it's different. Yeah.
Yeah, but not even just like in terms of athletic prowess, just in terms of culture, right?
Yep.
Like SEC culture, you know it when you see it. You know it when you feel it. It just doesn't really feel like that's there with Missouri or Vanderbilt. Ashton Davis gave us $5, said, I've lived in Northwest Arkansas my entire life and would love nothing more than an OU Arkansas rivalry. That fan base needs to be checked ASAP. Boomer. And our man Unfair Sports tossed
Jay.
us $20. What's up, Jay? He said, give me your Jaden Ott yards prediction and go.
Okay, so this is if he stays healthy, right? Like obviously.
Yes, we're assuming health here.
Okay,
He
health
plays a full season,
plays a full
uninhibited.
season. I will say 1175 or 1175. 11
11 Did you make up a number there?
1175. 1175.
Yeah. So I was right there in that range. I was going to say 1100. So I think he stays healthy all year. There's no reason he shouldn't sit north of 1,000,
Right?
especially if you're playing 14 games. Right? That comes out to like 60 yards a game.
Especially if you're playing national title. I mean, come on.
Well, to me, the ceiling for Jaden Ott production wise is very, very high because I would imagine that there will be a couple of games early on this. Like he's not going to play much against Illinois State, right? But that Temple game, that Kent State game, it's
Yeah.
not hard to fathom Jaden not going above the 200-yard mark in a game like that, right? So he's going to have the chance to inflate those totals early. And again, assuming he's healthy and this O line holds it together and the offense is humming, I don't think it's unreasonable to expect that Jaden Knott might knock on the door of 1,500. It's about where Eric Gray was the last time Oklahoma had a true feature back that was healthy all year.
Yeah. I but even if they I mean, God forbid, they're just so deep at the running back position that I think they're going to be fine either way. Now, he's just a game changer. Um, what what would be your biggest bold prediction on the defense? Like if you were going to throw something out there that is just a huge bold prediction for the defensive side of the ball, what would it be?
Did my Cortland Guillory take not count?
Sans that one.
Okay.
Go.
My biggest bold prediction is Kobe McKenzie leads Oklahoma in tackles. How about that? That bold enough?
That's bold. But I think Kobe McKenzie's gonna be really good. But yeah, that's bold. Mine that's a really good one actually. Mine is that our Mason Thomas, he leads sacks. I know that's not a bold take. However, second in sacks for this year will be Kendall Daniels.
Ooh. Okay. It's a
Cheetah.
little bit out of left field.
It is. I was thinking Isaiah Simmons
I'll
type
allow
deal.
it. I'll
Yeah.
allow it.
I don't think it's going to happen, but that's why it's a bold take.
Chad Smith tosses $2 and said, joined late. Any Giovanni Gibson news? Ott injured? Yeah, Jaden Ott is Jaden Ott's hurt, not injured. Jaden Ott's dealing with a little shoulder situation, if you will. It's not going to cost him a ton of practice time. It's not going to impact his availability for the 2025 season. But yeah, he's dealing with a banged up shoulder right now. Giovanni Gibson, he's done warm ups and done some jogging with the team the last couple of open practice sessions that we've been able to witness, but he is not in pads and not participating yet. And so,
Yeah.
understandably, they're easing him back because the wide receiver room is really deep and really talented as is. But also just knowing what he is capable of and knowing what he did throughout the spring at Oklahoma. I mean, plenty of people in that building were talking about him as wide receiver one in the offense, like a clear wide receiver one throughout spring before he got hurt. So if that's what Giovanni Gibson is capable of when fully healthy, you do not want to jeopardize his health in any fashion by rushing him any faster than he needs to go in order to prepare for the 2025 season. So To me, my expectation would be you see Giovanni Gibson play against Michigan. If he doesn't play against Michigan, I don't think that's the worst news in the world. I think Oklahoma will be able to beat Michigan without Giovanni Gibson in the mix. And then you're probably looking at Auburn as the target date for his return.
Yeah. Hey, before we go on, let me thank a couple of our sponsors real quickly, or just one of our sponsors real quickly. Hey, want to thank Refund You Med Spa in Oklahoma City. They've been voted the #1 med spa by 405 Magazine 6 years straight. Whether patients are looking to prevent early signs of aging, reclaim their youth, or attain ideal body shape, the expert medical staff at Refund You Med Spa can design a plan that helps them achieve their goals. Make sure you call Refund You Med Spa today for free consultation at 405-849-5391, or go to refundyouokc.com. Again, you got a girlfriend, you got a wife, everybody likes Botox, they like their lip fillers, everybody has age marks, sunspots, uh, scars, stretch marks, all that type of stuff. They can help remove those things. They're really great with nutrition, hair loss for men, hair loss for women. They have stuff there that can help you, treatments, all that above. Refund You Med Spa, Oklahoma City, and they're owned by huge Oklahoma Sooners fans, just so you know, like massive OU fans. Our guy, Mitch Matthews, and his wife have done a great job for years. They're basically one of the pioneers of that industry in Oklahoma City. So make sure you go to Refund You Med Spa, Oklahoma City. Call them for a free consultation at 405-849-5391, or go to refundyouokc.com to set that up as well. Go to ouinsider.com, VIP. You can sign up right now, $1 for the first week. It also gets you, if you sign up between now and August 30th, you get 1 year of the athletic of the athletic on us. We want to thank you guys for signing up. It's complimentary. Again, $1 for the first week. We have so many notes. We dropped notes on Krell, T-Ron Richardson, who else? Elijah Golden. So many practice notes, insider notes that we haven't even touched on here. Like, there's a ton. So we want to thank everybody that has signed up. It's been huge for us. You can go to ouinsider.com, click right there in the right hand, and it'll send you to the join link, and you just click sign up, and bam, you get 1 year of the athletic on us complimentary if you sign up between now and August 30th. Also, college students.edu. Email us from your .edu, ouinsider@rivals.com. You get a promo code sent to you to get OU Insider for $1 a month for the first 3 months. $1, so basically $3, it gets you 3 months. Also, active duty military. Email us from your active duty military, ouinsider@rivals.com. It has to be from your .edu. Any college student, doesn't matter where you go, you get OU Insider for $3 for 3 months. So basically $1 a month for 3 months. And that'll get you through a lot of the season. So come give us a try. Again, email us ouinsider@rivals.com. All right, Parker. Have you given your bold take on the offensive side of the ball?
My bold take on the offensive side of the ball. No, I don't think I have. First off, though, we got a $10 super chat from John
Okay.
Myrick, who asked, any Jaden Gibson news? Man, it's just I think the Jaden Gibson situation is legitimately the most befuddling of
It is.
Oklahoma's injuries, just because the timeline is so unclear right now. And part of that is due to the reality that he has, I mean, there were two different injuries essentially stacked on top of one another, right? He's working back from that torn patellar tendon that he suffered last August, and then he aggravates that injury. Well, I'm not even really sure how to explain the situation, but the process, the rehab process for Gibson in April led to a different injury. And so he was dealing with the patellar tendon from August through April. The injury that he suffered while working back in April is what he's currently working back from now. And depending on who you talk to, the expectations seem to be all over the board as to when Jaden Gibson is going to be able to return to game action. And so I don't think it's going to be an Andrell Anthony type of situation last year where it seems like, oh, he's a week away, he's 2 weeks away, and then he doesn't play all season. you're going to see him at some point. That would be my expectation, barring another aggravation or another complication. But as to when that is, I would be lying if I could cite to you a specific week where I would expect to see him back in the mix for Oklahoma. I think it's going to be a little while yet. I wouldn't imagine he is active week 1. When he sees the field again, as of right now, I'm not entirely sure, and no one seems to be entirely sure, even inside the building.
Yeah, I don't even know that it really matters at this point with how deep they are at wide receiver, right? Like, I think if, as long as you get Giovanni Gibson back, as long as you have Dion Burks, Isaiah Satania, like we talked about, Jermichael Carter, Elijah Thomas, uh, Keontez Lewis, like they've got so many options that I don't think it would be great if he came back and he was the version of himself pre-injury. That would be amazing for you. Talk about a huge boost. But if they don't, I don't think they're going to notice it just because I think they're so comfortable with what they have at wide receiver as it is. But nonetheless, yeah, you kind of hope that he comes back at some point because you hate to see a career in a guy that loves the university like he does in the way that it has. Um, did you give your bold take? I don't think you did you?
No, and we just got derailed by another super
Oh
chat.
my
Not
gosh, Showtime,
derailed. That's
thank
the
you.
wrong
Thank you.
verbiage. We love all of you that tune in, and we love to interact with you via the super chat function. But Showtime 409 said, "Love the show. I listen while in the gym. Would love if you guys could help make me and the Mrs. 10-year anniversary special. It's in November. Absolutely. Just let us know what we need to do. We'll be happy to." Um, but again, appreciate your listenership, appreciate your contribution. And Brandon, as far as my bold take on the offensive side of the ball,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a breakout year for Caden Helms.
Okay.
And I know he just hurt his hand, and that's diminished the public opinion of Caden Helms somewhat. But the guy that we saw moving around out there over the first few practices, the one thing about a hand injury, right, is it's not going to impair your ability to move. And Caden Helms is moving. He does
Yeah.
not look like a guy that is coming back from 2 major knee surgeries in successive years. And so
I thought he was Jacoby Johnson today, by the way, when he was running. I honestly did. He looked like him, like from a distance. I was like, was that Jacoby Johnson? And I turned to look, and Jacoby's over there doing DB drills. I was like, wait a second, that was Caden Helms because he had his jersey pulled up. So just body structure. Go ahead. Sorry. Just wanted to prove your point about how well he moves.
he is well
So
put together. He is moving like a seasoned vet, not just when it comes to his raw ability to move, but also the precision with which he's running routes out there. He's got a polish to his game that wasn't there when he showed up, and you'd expect that now that he's a redshirt junior. Um, but I I would say until he hurt his hand, the version of Caden Helms that we were looking at, and the version of Caden Helms that I think we will see this season, is easily the best version of Caden Helms that Oklahoma has seen to this point. And so, what does a breakout year look like for a tight end in the Oklahoma offense? I'm not expecting, 800 yards, 10 touchdowns, finalist for the Mackey Award. Could he
mhm.
get there eventually? Absolutely. He's good enough. He's talented enough. He's got enough raw ability. But I would say in 2025, if that's a guy that catches 30 passes for 400 yards and 3 or 4 touchdowns, I'd call that a breakout year. And I think that's the type of year Helms is capable of.
That's a pretty good bold take. Um, I think everybody thinks Dion Burks is going to lead the team in touchdown receptions. I'm going to go Keontez Lewis as my big, bold take. I think he's going to lead the team in touchdown receptions. I'm starting to buy into the Keontez Lewis hype from a
Okay.
lot of the people. What would you put that on a scale of 1 to 10 boldness? What would you put that as?
That's a solid 7, I would say.
Boo. I figured it'd be higher than that. All right, here it is. You know what? I think it was Big J Homie that said it on our board. It was a pretty awesome bold take. I think he said it today, sometime this morning, maybe. I have to go back and look. I'm pretty positive that he said that Jacob Jordan would be the second leading receiver on the team.
Wow.
Yeah, Big J homie. Shout out to BHJ, man. That was a bold take. That's a
Now,
bold take.
okay, let me ask you this then. While we're on this topic, every single year there's not generally a ton of debate about who Oklahoma's leading passer and leading rusher is going to be.
Mhm.
Expectations almost always match reality in that regard. But who's going to be Oklahoma's leading receiver?
So is this assuming Giovanni Gibson's healthy? Like I kind of since when I said the Keontez Lewis stuff, I said it thinking that I don't know how healthy he is going to stay
Yeah,
just
well,
because
just
he's
like
been
knowing
banged up.
what we know now, knowing what
Okay.
we know right now today, no hypotheticals involved. Who do you think leads Oklahoma in receiving in 2025?
It's got to be Deion Burks, right? You would think.
You know what my answer is?
Are you going to say Giovanni Gibson?
No, I'm going to say Isaiah Satania.
That that's a good one.
I think Isaiah Satania is going to catch a lot of passes this
I
fall.
agree.
And volume is part of the reason why I would say I think that guy's going to lead Oklahoma in receiving. Because I expect him to be a maniac in the target department. I think he can have a year similar to what Drake Stoops had in 2023.
That would be awesome.
Drake Stoops darn near cracked 1,000 yards.
Yep.
And it wasn't because he was, breaking free down the sideline for 70-yard touchdowns. No, he just caught a ton of passes. He caught 84 passes that year.
Yeah.
I don't know if Isaiah Satania catches 84 passes, but I think he's going to catch a ton of passes. I would say 50, 60 at least.
That's a bold take. I like it. I like it. I like what if is it a bold take if I say by the end of the year your starting offensive line is Sexton at left, uh, EPL at left guard, your center is Troy Everett, and your right guard, as much as I love Fabechi, your right guard is Ryan Foje, and your right tackle is Derek Simmons. Would that be a bold take?
So, I mean, like basically uh, the only aspect of that take that would be bold is Foje. So, I mean, you
No,
can
yeah,
even like
that's
boil
why I
that
threw
down
that out
further.
there.
You could say your bold take is Ryan Foje ends up starting at right guard at some point for Oklahoma.
Okay.
Because like it's chalk everywhere else, right? Like,
Well, right. Well, that was my point. Is like Foje takes over, who a lot of people feel is one of the most consistent offensive linemen on the team, and that I think Foje's, no, excuse me, I think Fabechi's really, really good. Just think Foje is really, really good too.
he's going to be a special one. I believe that.
There's a lot of
He and
people that are,
Fasusi both. And I say that, and I have also long said I don't have any expectation that those two see the field in any substantial capacity in 2025. But I
same.
also think they're going to be exceptional football players at Oklahoma in the long run.
And that,
Exceptional.
well, right. I think Biedenbo's basically said to several people that Fasusi has a chance to be one of the best to ever come through there. And
Mhm.
so, um, I just, there's a lot of people that feel like Fasusi is going to end up starting at one of the tackles before. And when I say a lot, it's a lot of fans that feel that way. The way that they're talking about Sexton right now is the way that we heard him being talked about in 22 and 23. Would you say that's fair?
I would, and I think as long as he stays healthy, he's going to have a really good year, a
I
prove
do.
it year as a
I do too.
senior.
Totally agree. Totally agree.
$2 from Thomas Redlow, and this will probably be our final super chat unless we have any other buzzer beaters here. How has David Stone looked?
Good. Really good. As a matter of fact, um, Cortland Guillory called him out. today saying he had a phenomenal day at practice. And you, no matter who you talk to, I talked to two people today that just talked about David Stone. Man, he has just turned it on. Light bulb, light switch. Dominic Williams said as much already when we interviewed him. Um, who was the other defensive lineman that we interviewed the other day that talked glowingly about David Stone? It may have been an offensive lineman, actually. But whatever the case may be, no matter who you talk about or who you talk to, David Stone gets brought up as he is tunnel visioned, focused, playing like the David Stone everybody expected him to be last year. A lot of things have taken place since then. He's matured emotionally, mentally, physically, understands what's being asked of him, and he just loves ball right now. That's what everybody says. He loves ball, and he's just playing phenomenally well as my light went out. Awesome. So, on that note, we want to thank everybody for listening and watching this version of the OU Insider Under the Visor YouTube Live powered by Riverwind Casino. Again, if you are not on OU Insider VIP, go to ouinsider.com, click right up there, join, and it'll send you right now between now and August 30th. You sign up for $1 a week, $1 for the first week, right? You sign up, you pay $1 for the first week, and then bam, you also get 1 year of the Athletic complimentary with that membership. So sign up. It's awesome. It's good. We've got a ton of information flowing. The community's buzzing right now. There's a lot of fun, really good topics going on right now at OU Insider VIP. It's been a lot of fun the last few days. I got a chat going on that everybody's asked. I think I've got 44 questions already. I've answered like 20 of them, and I got like 24, 25 more. I try to get between 50 and 60 answered every time. So make sure you go on there, join, ask away. You want insider VIP information, that's the place to go. Parker and I are on there, talking to you guys every day. You ask questions, you start your own thread, boom, we're there. So go to ouinsider.com, sign up. Right there in the top right, the join now. You get OU Insider for $1 for the first week, and you also get 1 year of the Athletic complimentary with that membership. So if you sign up between now and August 30th, naturally. Also, college students, active duty military, email us from your .edu or your active duty military account, whatever branch you're in. We love our active duty. We love our college students. We understand that financials tough. So we're trying to help you become members. If you're a big OU fan, diehard, all you got to do is email ouinsider@rivals.com. Again, ouinsider@rivals.com. We will send you a promo code for you to sign up. You get 3 months on us, $1 a month for the first 3 months. So $3 gets you 3 months. You pay $1 each month. You get 3 months on us. That'll get you through most of the season, get you through a lot of the recruiting that's going to be going on, a lot of the visits, a lot of the big games. Yeah, come join OU Insider. We also have one last thing. Members, OU Insider members, Parker and I have been talking about, we're spitballing this idea of doing a podcast every now and then where you guys get to come on and talk topics with us that you want to talk about. So you will be part of the feature with us. And that's a thank you for you guys being on OU Insider. We want to highlight our members, give you guys everything that we can. So again, that's another perk that will be coming down the pipe later on for those that are at OU Insider VIP. All right, for Parker Thune, for Kurt Watson, filling in for Spencer Forsythe on the board. My name is Brandon Drum. That's going to do it for this version of the OU Insider Under the Visor YouTube Live, powered by Riverwind Casino. You guys have a blessed day.